In this video we will discuss transformations of common graphs. The idea is to start off with the graph of a common function. Think something like y equals x, x squared, square root x, 1 over x, cosine x, sine x, absolute value x. So start off with the graph of one of these common functions and think about how changing the function slightly will affect the positioning and the shape of the graph. So to begin, if we start off with a common graph, let's call it f of x. If we add c to it or subtract c from it, it's going to shift it up c units or down c units, so a vertical shift. However, if we change that input, if we make the input x minus c or x plus c, then that graph of f is going to be shifted c units to the right or c units to the left. If we put a negative sign outside of the function, it's going to be a reflection over the x-axis. If we change the input with a negative sign, it's going to be a reflection over the y-axis. Multiplying by a constant on the outside is a vertical stretch or shrink, depending upon the size of c. Changing the input to cx is going to be a horizontal shrink or stretch, once again depending upon the size of c. The intuition here is really to think about what quantity is being affected. Is the input being affected? That's going to change the x value positioning of your graph. Or is the output, the y value, being affected? That's going to change your graph vertically. So let's look at an example. So a common thing that we need to be able to do in Calculus 1 and 2 is to be able to maybe quickly recognize what the graph of a function will look like. So here, let's sketch the graph of y equals minus the square root of 4 minus x. In order to do so, we'll start off with the common curve here, y equals square root x, and then we'll slowly work our way through and think about how these various transformations will affect the shape of the graph. So y equals square root x is a common curve. Looks something along these lines. It goes through the point 0, 0, and 1, 1. So I'm going to work my way from the inside out. So I'm going to start off with y equals x, square root x, and then the next curve I'm going to look at is y equals square root minus x. I'm going to try to build up to the function that we would like. Well, putting this minus inside is going to be a reflection about the y-axis. So this is going to look something along these lines. Still contains the point 0, 0. And the point that was at 1, 1 is now at minus 1, 1. The next thing to do now is to take care of this 4, which is inside that function. So y equals square root 4 minus x. But we have to be very careful here. We have to think about how is the x value being changed. So let's rewrite this as minus the square root of minus a quantity x minus 4. Because once that minus sign is distributed inside the square root, it's going to be minus x plus 4. So that's telling me I need to take the graph of the square root of minus x and shift it 4 units to the right. So roughly speaking, something along these lines. So the point that was at 0, 0 is now at 4, 0, and the point that was at minus 1, 1 is now at 3, 1. And then lastly here, we need to take care of the negative sign that's out front. Well, putting that negative sign out front, we're changing our outputs. It's going to reflect about the x-axis. So still at 4, 0, the point that was at 3, 1 is now at the point 3, minus 1.